Over the course of our investigation, our goal has been to uncover and present the facts about these insidious videos which exploit and pervert popular children's characters. This is our central goal, through which we've hoped to spread awareness to as many parents as possible. As our earliest viewers and subscribers may have noticed, we've been rather silent for a few months due to having presented nearly all the information we've uncovered and deemed factual enough to reveal, without venturing into the territory of speculation or devil's advocacy. Recently, however, news outlets worldwide have begun covering the story, creating a snowball effect and helping to raise awareness to far more people than the audience we've reached. In addition, YouTube has responded, and several of the notoriously deviant channels have since been shut down. Given this, we feel it's time to reach out once again and present a few subjects we've not yet discussed or explored in previous videos. We will also open up the floor to our audience, allowing them to communicate what they'd like to see our channel cover in the near future. On Saturday, November 4th, the New York Times published an online article that provided a cautionary insight into the deeply concerning content that children are unwittingly being exposed to. The article was subsequently featured on the print edition the following day and has caused many other news outlets to follow in suit, publishing articles on the topic. Since then, talking points have arisen, including child exploitation, censorship, the purpose of investigators such as us, and how internet monoliths deal with the perception of culpability they experience in hosting said content. As we mentioned in our previous video, limiting exposure to this type of content is not an easy subject to properly engage in a deliberated and impartial manner. While widespread internet censorship and the restriction of user-created content is a difficult issue to wrestle with, we do not want to walk on eggshells and let fear inhibit each decision made or each opinion expressed by investigating YouTube. Despite that, we're constantly walking a thin line regarding our collective views and beliefs and how to best spread awareness of Elsagate. Again, we must highlight how paramount it is to keep our efforts ethically focused on content that is exclusively classifiable as damaging and deplorable. If we were not to adhere to this standard, then an equally dangerous scenario could unfold wherein children's videos on YouTube and the creators behind them get unjustly targeted or turned into scapegoats. To reiterate, if a children's video on YouTube is not within the classification of what was explained in our previous videos, then we ourselves are facilitating harm via unwarranted removal of safe content. Investigating YouTube's purpose from its inception was to provide education and awareness on this type of content that's available on YouTube. We remain confident that, considering all we've just mentioned, that any concerned parent or individual should have a good idea of what constitutes as harmful content and what Elsagate's damaging and distressing thematic traits are. Due to the overwhelming amount of this content and the speed with which it is generated, it's a gargantuan task for anyone to undertake this investigation by oneself. Thankfully, however, a blog post on November 2nd from YouTube Kids engineering director has announced new parental controls and profile measures which appear promising. These appear to show YouTube's active commitment to bettering the experience of all children that use the YouTube Kids platform. Firstly, a large amount of this Elsagate content will become age-restricted, meaning that it will still exist and be viewable on YouTube, but will definitely become somewhat more difficult for children to access. Secondly, YouTube Kids will also become more restrictive, and content monitors will be employed to help filter and flag inappropriate content from the children's app. YouTube has also established some other policies earlier this year, casing many of the videos to become demonetized due to not having family-friendly characters in adult situations, but that has hardly dampened the volume still being generated and uploaded. In the next few weeks, we will see how these practices are enacted and whether or not the shadowy creators of this vile content will keep it up, fade into obscurity, or devise a new way to exploit their audiences. We have already seen the shutdown of the Freak Family channel, Anna Kids TV, and Webs and Tiaras. We can only hope that this is an indicator of steps being taken in the right direction. The mass shutdown of other channels may be coming next, but in some cases this may be considered unjust and could possibly result in blowback from those creators. Only time will tell what the result of these changes will be. As it's been made clear through our channel and other sources covering the topic, there's no shortage of inappropriate children's content that's easily accessed on YouTube. One might wonder how it gets so popular or who is watching this awful material. In some cases, it is unfortunately children, but we also believe that there's a great deal of manipulation that allows these videos to seem far more popular than they truly are. A quick internet search for "buy YouTube views" will yield dozens of websites that allow creators to purchase a way to bolster their YouTube statistics. This, in turn, manipulates the YouTube recommended and autoplay algorithms that present these videos both as more popular than they truly are and more likely to become recommended or appear in the autoplay feature. Another way these channels are achieving and maintaining popularity is through the use of MCNs, or multi-channel networks. MCNs are partnership networks, most of whom claim to be legitimate, that help boost search engine placement, ad revenue, and otherwise assist channels in getting more exposure. Some of the more popular MCNs include Curse Inc., Broadband TV, and Maker Studios, all of which have some of these deviant children's channels as part of their network. The latter, Maker Studios, is even a subsidiary owned by Disney and has these channels which feature Disney's imagery and intellectual property in Maker's top 10 performers. It would be rather strange for any company to not be familiar with some of their best and most popular clients. But since we must stay objective and stray from jumping to any conclusions, we cannot assume that Disney has any direct involvement. But we'll leave it to our viewers to draw their own conclusions. With that, we'd like to extend a sincere thank you to our viewers who have persevered with us through our investigation. A special thanks goes out to those of you who have helped share our content, or even that of others who are bringing this issue to light. It's been a dark road that we've traveled, and sometimes there appears to be a light ahead of us, a moment when the unknown is laid bare and exposed. However, that's mostly wishful thinking, as along our journey we've uncovered some of the darker paths which appear to be even bleaker. Outside of content that's merely aimed at kids, there's still an overwhelming amount of content that exploits them. We've considered approaching some of these topics, though in many cases they tend to be grim enough to test our mettle and resolve. In other cases, it's strictly a matter for the authorities. We may broach the subject in future releases, but we do feel the experience we've gained through our investigation could provide proper insight into other topics that need exploration and exposure. In closing, we ask our audience to please leave a comment about what you'd like to see from us in the future. Or feel free to send us an email at investigatingyoutube@protonmail.com. If major changes or findings are discovered, we'll stick to our main focus. But now, let's open the forum to what you'd like to see us look into, as without a doubt, we shall go on to expose the darker sides and intrepidly continue investigating YouTube.